Good evening, everybody. It's Captain Kane, and it's time for Brooklyn Bedtime Stories with Captain Kane. Tonight, I've got a book, Superhero Max. I thought I'd read this book tonight because the Brooklyn High School is having Spirit Day today, and I think it is Superhero Day, so I thought this would be the theme of the day. Now, this is a great story because this is a story about Max, who is new to a school. And I want you guys to think about times when you've been kind of the new kid, whether it's in school or an activity or any place, and see if you have some of the same feelings and some of the things that Max does. So let me get started. Superhero Max by Lawrence David. Captain Kane doesn't have superhero eyes, so he needs his glasses to read tonight. Recess. Ms. Slumber called to her class of second graders at Happy Hollow Elementary School. The kids scrambled out of their seats, put on their coats and jackets, and ran outdoors to the schoolyard. Only Max Pilner trailed behind them. Max watched as his classmates dashed about. Some kids played Giant Bug Attack and stomped and clawed and buzzed. Some kids played Wild Animal Land and squeaked and clucked and roared. Some kids played Happy Hollow Hospital and yelled and moaned and made siren noises. Miss Slumber gave Max a pat on the back. It's not easy being in a new school, is it? Max thought of all his old friends and the games they played at recess. Max wandered off to the far side of the playground and shut his eyes. He did 10 electric turnarounds, then opened his eyes and whispered the magic words the kids at his old school said when they played. Biffle Wiffle, Max said. There was a gigantic flash. There was a crashing boom. Max was no longer Max Pilner, second grader at Happy Hollow Elementary School. No, Max Pilner had become Captain Crusader. Says those magic words, Biffle Wiffle. Captain Crusader flew high in the air and saved a plane from crashing into a mountain. Captain Crusader swam deep beneath the ocean and saved a school of fish from a shark. Captain Crusader used his supersonic beam to catch the Evil Weevil gang and put them in jail. Recess is over, Mrs. Slumber yelled. Time to come in. Max looked around. All the other kids were laughing as they returned to the classroom. Max slowly followed them and took his seat. Class, Miss Slumber announced, next week on Halloween we will dress in costumes and have a spooky celebration. At the end of the day, we'll vote for the most exciting costume. All the kids whooped and cheered. Max sat quietly at his desk, a small smile spreading across his face. That entire week after school, Max and his older brother Billy worked hard making Max's outfit. I think you can imagine what he's going to dress up as. On Halloween, the kids dressed in their costumes. Some kids were ghosts, some kids were cats, some kids were ninjas. There was even one kid dressed as a llama. When Max entered the classroom, everyone stopped talking and stared. Miss Slumber smiled. And who is this? I don't recognize him. Max faced the class. I'm Captain Crusader, he said. I have many powers. I fight villains and save animals and people from calamitous disasters. Wow, Anne-Marie said. Cool, George said. Neato, Brad said. Max's classmates clapped, and at recess, they asked him to join in their games. Out on the playground, Captain Crusader chased giant bugs back into their dark caves, saved animals from a raging forest fire, and used his supersonic beam to cure all the patients at Happy Hollow Hospital. Back in the classroom, Max won the award for most exciting costume. The next day, Max woke up, put on his Captain Crusader costume, and headed downstairs to the kitchen. Max's dad gave him a puzzled look. Max, Halloween was yesterday. You're not having another party at school, are you? No, I just like being Captain Crusader, Max told his dad. You don't have to wear the costume to be Captain Crusader, Billy said. Max took his seat and began eating his cereal. But without my costume, how will kids know I'm Captain Crusader? He asked. There he is in his costume again. As Max walked to school, a strong wind tore the star from the center of his mask. Max was so busy thinking about all the games he'd play, he didn't even notice. During recess, Captain Crusader swooped down and carried campers away from a swarm of humongous bees. When Max went to play Happy Hollow Hospital, the kids just stared at him. Halloween is over, Andy said. No one's wearing a costume anymore. I could still be Captain Crusader, Max explained. We don't need a superhero today, but you can be a doctor, Brad said. Max frowned. Then he ran off to play on his own. As Max walked home from school, rain began to fall. The paints on his costume smudged and dripped onto the sidewalk. Max was so busy thinking about all the games he'd play the next day, he didn't even notice. The next morning, Max's father served him breakfast. Don't you think it's time to put Captain Crusader's outfit away, he asked. Max shook his head and poured syrup on his flapjacks. Captain Crusader has to help save his friends from vicious bugs and wild animals. Dad doesn't think it's a good idea to go back as Captain Crusader, does he? During recess, Captain Crusader saved one kid from the woolly caterpillar. When Max went to play Wild Animal Land, the kids just said they didn't need a superhero. Maybe you could be a monkey or a lion, Anne-Marie said. Max frowned. Captain Crusader can't be an animal. He has to save everyone. He flew to the far side of the playground and was so busy racing to the moon, he didn't notice that his cape caught on a branch and tore. Looks like his whole costume is falling apart on him here. The next day during recess, Max went to play Giant Bug Attack. But the kids didn't need a superhero that day. That costume's dirty, Edith said. Why can't you be a beetle? George asked. No one else wanted to play with Captain Crusader either. Max frowned. But I'm Captain Crusader, he shouted. Captain Crusader charged into the giant bugs, knocking kids into the bushes. Captain Crusader charged into the animals, pushing kids into the swings. Captain Crusader charged into the Happy Hollow Hospital, shoving kids to the ground. Ms. Slumber called Max in from recess. She told him to sit with his head on his desk. She made a call to Max's father to tell him what had happened. Doesn't seem like Max was being real nice at recess. The next morning when Max got up for school, the Captain Crusader costume was gone. He ran downstairs to the kitchen. What happened to my clothes? He asked his father and brother. No more costume, Max's dad said. From now on, Max Pilner is going to school, not Captain Crusader. Max frowned. His dad took him upstairs to change into plain jeans and a plain shirt. He's just going to go to school as Max Pilner. During recess, the kids played their games while Max hid behind an oak tree. When he finally peeked out, he saw all the kids laughing. Max had an idea. He got down on his hands and knees and began crawling across the yard. Hey, what's Captain Crusader up to? George asked. I'm not Captain Crusader right now, Max replied. What are you then? George asked. Max thought hard. I'm half a beetle and half an ant. I'm a Blant, he answered. George looked at Max and moved just the way Max did. I'll be a Blant too. Max and his classmates scampered across the playground and played their buggy game. Max hadn't known being a Blant would be so much fun. And there's Max, being a Blant, a beetle and ant combined. Max Pilner walked home from school that day in his plain jeans and his plain shirt. And when he stepped in some mud and got his sneakers dirty, he didn't even notice. He was too busy putting his arms in front of him, pretending to be an elephant with a long trunk. He thought it would be fun to play Wild Animal Land the next day with his friends at school. And there's Max Pilner walking home. He doesn't need to be a superhero. He just needs to be Max. And his friends will like him just as much. Hope you enjoyed the story tonight. Bedtime Stories with Captain Kane here. And here was superhero Max, who Captain Crusader. So, hope everybody enjoyed the story. Brooklyn, stay safe out there. And Captain Kane is signing off. It's hurricane season.